Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 207 of Pera's Playbook. Today we're joined by Felix Cortes. He's an actor, stuntman. He's been in movies and TV shows like Wonder Woman 1984, Plane, the new Naked Gun, all stunt stuff. He's had acting roles in some Bruce Willis films and Cobra Kai, whole bunch of stuff. And we're gonna dive into his career and all kinds of different things. We've been planning this for a while. We've been in communication for a while, and we finally got it done. So we're happy to have him here.
I'm happy to be here. Yeah, finally, yeah. Yeah, this is cool.
Sometimes it takes a while. I've had people I'm trying to get on the podcast, and we talk for over a year sometimes, and it finally happens. But you just got to keep in constant communication, keep checking in, and eventually, things work out.
Yeah, I didn't want you to think like, I was ducking you. I didn't want to do it or something like that, Sometimes it's funny, because really like I just had some eye transplant, cornea transplant, and I was dealing with that, and I did have to do both eyes, so it took a little while, but hey, we're here, so and I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about like how you got into this stunt, and we'll dive into some of your specific things you've done. But I mean, how did you get into the stunt and acting world? What got you interested in it?
I've been doing martial arts since I was 12 years old. I started with Filipino martial arts. I did Taekwondo, and I had a school. I ran a school for many years. I competed on the circuit, NBL, NASCA, and some of my friends, started going to Hollywood and getting into stunts and stuff. But I run a school, I have a business. I couldn't just, get up and go. And so yeah, like I closed my business in 2010, and I started traveling internationally to do seminars. And, you meet people here and there and stuff like that. And I met a gentleman, and, he was like, hey, man, you would be great to do, like stunt work and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I would love to do it. Now I have the free time to do it because I don't have my school anymore. And so he introduced me to another gentleman, and Artie Maleshi. Artie Maleshi is a stunt coordinator from Miami, and I was fortunate to work on a pilot with him, and that's how I got a SAG. I got tafted, and then that's kind of like how the journey started.
When you first started in the journey, did you think that you were only going to do stunts? I mean, did you realize that you would eventually get into the acting side of it too?
Well, see, back in the 80s, right? Back in like specifically 1985, I used to be a breakdancer, and I toured with Run DMC, Houdini, the Fat Boys, Boogaloo Shrimp, Shabadoo, Grandmaster Flash, the old school,
Yeah.
I was in a tour. It was called New York City Fresh Fest 2. In 1985, we traveled all over the U.S. We did 52 cities, and after we finished the tour, I was with a group called Dynamic, right? And after we finished the tour, our manager got us an audition for like a after school special. And back then, I didn't know the difference between stunts and acting. It was just movie stuff. So I didn't pick to do stunts. I thought that I can do both. It was like a package deal. But then you find out that no, if you do acting, then you go with people that train you to do acting, and you get an agent and you take that route. If you do stunts, then you go with this group of people over here, and they teach you how to take calculated risks, and learn different aspects of stunts, because stunts is it's a big category. If you say I do stunts, maybe you do fights, but do you do fires? Do you do high fall? Do you do car hits? Stunts is a big category. So to say that I do stunts, there's a lot of things that I don't do. But then there are things that because of my martial arts, that I can do, and I do well. So yeah, so I didn't at that time I didn't know the difference. But as I got into it more, I started getting more stunt jobs because of my abilities and stuff, or maybe my look. Um, and uh, and then same thing because of my look. I submitted. I was working with a gentleman that ran the DC Stunt Coalition here in Maryland, and he submitted a reel for a job that he was doing, submitting for to be the fight designer, stunt coordinator type thing, and it was called Johnny Z. And he submitted the reel, which had me as a stunt performer in it. The director was like, "Hey, who's that guy?" And he said, "Oh, that's one of my guys. That's Felix Cortes, blah, 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 blah." And then he says, "I like that guy." And he asked me to audition for the main role of for Johnny Z. And, it was kind of cool. So it kind of worked that way. I get to act and then do my own stunts. So you get
Yeah.
to be the action actor type thing, Yeah, yeah.
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 That's
So
funny. It's funny to or interesting, to hear how everything works out for people, right? Because some people they get into this business so early in life, right away. I've had people on the podcast recently. I just talked to a guy. He started acting when he was 3 years old, and so he's been
wow.
doing it his whole life, right? Child acting, commercials, all this stuff. And then other
Mm.
people get into it like they were into martial arts, or maybe they were into gymnastics or something else, and that led them into the industry. It's very interesting, everyone's path.
Yeah, yeah. I'm fortunate, that the martial arts helped me to seek out this new opportunity. I like performing. When I was a young man, I was breakdancing. We used to do a lot of like live demos and things like that. You think that kind of stuff prepares you, and it does in a smaller way. But once you get into stunts, you really have to train the craft, just like anything else. You can't be like, "Hey, I do martial arts. I'm a stunt guy." No, it's not. It's not really like that. Although it does help, but there's a lot of things that you have to learn. Angles, cameras, safety. Just you have to go in like ready to learn. From the professionals, from the people that are there. To kind of help you in this journey.
Right. And like you said, there's different types of stunts. People who do fire and the car hits and driving and sometimes when you go on like IMDb, it lists like, okay, this person did a stunt rigging. Sometimes it just says stunts. Sometimes it says stunt driver, so sometimes it's specific and sometimes it just says stunts, so who the heck knows what they
Utility
did.
could be you could be utility stunts. you
Right.
know yeah. I mean, hey man, I love the process. I love to see something, like just develop from scratch. How you rehearse the fights. You create the fights, you rehearse the fights, you shoot them, you submit it. The director has changes, you come back, you make the changes, and then you go to the shoot. To see the final product on the screen is like, wow, we did that. Remember how long it took us to do that? Or you know what I mean? It's like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. So I saw on your IMDb, I have not seen these movies, but that you did a few Bruce Willis films. And I just want to mention it because obviously he's a legendary actor, especially in the action world.
Yeah, it was awesome. I went to Puerto Rico for to work with LA Stunts in Puerto Rico, and um, uh, the movie was Survive the Game. And LA Rigging and Stunts is the people that were, the group that was doing the thing. Raul Acosel was the stunt coordinator, running the show. And they hired me, and I had no idea that I was going to do a scene with Bruce Willis. It's just kind of like it ended up that way. Uh, and we shot in the mountains in Puerto Rico, and next thing you know, I show up to set one day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna do a scene, blah blah blah." And I thought that it was just going to be his stand-in, because the whole time I'm rehearsing and stand-in's there, and I'm like, cool, okay. And they were like, okay, ready, places, and Mr. Willis, I mean, it was awesome. I was like super excited, but at the same time, I wish I would have known in advance, so you can prepare mentally and stuff like that. But you know what? He was like the coolest person, like very quiet, cool. He said hello, talked to me very briefly, I was like, hello, Miss Willis, blah, blah, blah. And, we shot the scene. And it was great, man. It was just really cool. And at the time, this was like shortly before like he retired. I didn't like notice anything, like wrong with him or anything. I mean, he looked great, man. It was, one of the days he was shooting in the house and he comes out. It was like really, really hot. It's always hot in Puerto Rico, by the way, but it was really hot. And then he says, wow, it's really hot here today. I was like, it's really hot every day, sir. He laughed and stuff. And, we had like a little talk. I don't stay there mingling, talking with people. I do my job and, I want to keep working. But if people talk to me and stuff like that, I'm also courteous and, but I know my place. But anyway, yeah, it was really cool working with him. And then there was another movie that he did. It was 2 parts, and I played it in the second one. And what was that? It'll come to me. It was Survive the Game and Fortress and Fortress 2. And I played in Fortress 2. And on that one, I had more speaking lines, stuff like that, fight scene. And yeah, it was really cool. It was, it was exciting. Because I grew up watching, Bruce Willis and stuff like that. And I thought, it's just, this is freaking Die Hard, So I'm like, woo, and like, yeah, I can say that I did, a movie with Bruce Willis. So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really too bad, to see his condition decline and see where his health is at now. It's really sad. Especially he's not that old too. I mean, it's always sadder when somebody's not that old and they start to experience serious, health conditions and
Yeah,
things, and
exactly.
it's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, when he was, on set, man, he was great. He looked good. You know, there was no like trace of, that I could see, I mean, of course I didn't spend a lot of personal time with him, but he was on set and, we get to see him and stuff like that. And yeah, he looked fine. He looked fine, but it's
Yeah,
unfortunate. Yeah.
it is for sure. Well, let's talk about Cobra Kai. I think you are the 11th person from the Cobra Kai who's had, a scene or anything within the franchise. We've been lucky to speak with a lot of people who have been connected with the show and that whole universe. And I loved the show. I mean, I watched every episode, and as soon as it came out, my wife and I were on it. We were binging it. Fantastic show. But yeah, you were on there, and let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, well, before I got casted for Pedro, I was working utility stunts. Yeah. So we would go in and we set up the Takai
Yeah,
for the tournament. We set up the floors, we set up the spring floors and everything, and we'd bring the truck in, unload everything and stuff like that. So that's what we did. We set up the area where all the cast and actors and the fighters will rehearse, their fight scenes and things like that. And then we'd break it down, and take it back and stuff like that. And then one day, Tony Chung, he messages me. He says, "Hey, they are auditioning for a character, Pedro." He sent me the sides and he says, "Send this to me, but it has to be in Spanish and it has to be in Castilian, like from Spain." And I'm like, oh, okay. So I Googled Spanish accents and stuff like that and listened to it like really, really, really quick. Because Puerto Rican, Spanish or different Spanish, it's different. I've been to Spain. I've done seminars in Spain, and I tell you, I've been with people. I didn't understand the word they were saying because of they speak with a S. So nosotros sabes, very, very, so I had to, kind of come up with something like that. And yeah, I did the best that I could. And it's one thing, it's not just trying to do the accent, but you have to know what words, there's certain words that they use that we don't use. And maybe it's in the script, so you have to kind of like stick with what they have. But if you can have a like a Spanish, authentic Spanish words that means the same as a word in the script, and you kind of like can slip it in there. It kind of helps a little bit. Unfortunately, I did not have the knowledge, to do that, so I had to strictly rely on mimicking or trying to do my best Castilian, accent. So he submitted it, and lucky enough, I got the role. And so I was super excited, and I got to do a scene with the Ralph Macchio, which was totally awesome. Um, and yeah, it was great. Gio
I was gonna
Cabrera
say, were
was in
you
the
with
scene
Gio
with
in that
me.
scene too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was me and Gio. Yeah, my buddy Gio. He's awesome. He's awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were the two bad guys that were keeping him captive or whatever, and he.
Yes, yeah. We kept him in the cage and stuff. We kept
Yeah.
him in the cage, and then he breaks out and beats us up. I wish we had more of a fight scene. He's like, "Hey, you get to do a fight with Ralph Macchio," and I was like, "Oh yeah, like yeah." And I was like, "Hey, wait a minute, that wasn't much of a fight. I get knocked
Yeah.
out."
Right.
But it
Yeah.
was awesome. But it was awesome. If you're gonna
More
get
more
knocked
like.
out by somebody, get knocked out by the guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a fight, just getting beat up by Ralph.
Right, right, right. No, but it was great. It was a really good opportunity to for acting.
Yeah.
Because I do mostly stunts and stuff like that. But if you can do stunts and deliver one liners and things like that, or deliver a monologue, yeah, that definitely helps. It definitely helps.
Yeah. Were you watching Cobra Kai? Did you watch all the Karate Kid movies back in the day? Were you
Oh, of
familiar with
course. I
everything?
love I saw the first Karate Kid in the movies. I seen, the second Karate Kid. I actually didn't. Cobra Kai started on YouTube Red, and I never saw it. I never saw it till it came to Netflix.
Yeah.
Then once it got on Netflix, then I started binge watching, and I was like, wow, this is really like good. Like the writing is so good. And what I really loved about Cobra Kai is that they bring back all the cast members. They really kept everybody, like working, just like, bringing it back, keeping it, true to the original. And I really love that. So yeah, it was great. And then to, season 6, final season, you get to be kind of a part of that universe. I'm like, wow, this is great. Even a little part for me
Yeah.
was huge. For me
Oh
was like,
yeah.
sure, it's Cobra Kai, man. It's a hit show, and
Yeah.
you get to be on it. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was
there's
awesome.
not that many people that can say I was on Cobra Kai, whether it was for 5 minutes or 10 episodes. It doesn't matter. You
That's right.
you still did it.
I
Yeah, I
just
did
got
a
an
great
email
job.
that actually it wasn't an email. It was a post. One of my students from my when I was had my school. His mother posted, "Hey, we were just watching Cobra Kai, and guess who we saw? Our boys karate instructor, Mr. Felix, was on Cobra Kai. Oh my God, blah 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 blah." And I thought that was so cool. So I kind of
Yeah.
like responded to her post. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the shout out. And I said hello to the kids and stuff. With not kids, they're men now.
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, I thought it was really cool, and a lot of people, I get messages here and there saying, "Hey, we saw you on Cobra Kai. Oh my God, that was so cool. I'm calling my kids. Hey, that was my instructor. That's my instructor." Then you feel like he just said he's calling his kids.
Right. It makes you feel a
Like
little
he
old.
used to be a kid when I used to teach him. Now he got kids. Okay, all right, that's still cool. It's still cool.
Yeah. No, it definitely is really cool to be a part of such a big universe. I mean, from the original movies to the show, it just turned into a worldwide phenomenon. To have any part in that is is really neat. They did a wonderful job with it. I mean, the
Awesome,
story
awesome.
was great. And like you said, they brought back so many characters from the original show, and then season to season they had the same characters, the same actors, which often in TV shows there's casting changes. They had such consistency. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and I like to see how they kept raising the bar, with the fights and the action and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did a great job, the coordinators and stuff like that. And then with season 6, they really, they really took it to, I think, to another level. Being the last seasons, they wanted to make it, a little more grittier and stuff, which I thought it was great. It was a great, great idea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you've done stunts for, big films like Wonder Woman 1984, Plane, the new Naked Gun movie, which I have not seen yet. I will at some point because Liam Neeson's great.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, cool.
so I'll have to watch that for sure. But I have seen Plane. I'm a huge Gerard Butler fan. I love him as an actor. I think he's phenomenal. So let's touch on Plane for a little bit.
Yeah, Gerard Butler is like super cool. He was like, funny, really nice guy. I did a scene with him. I'm lucky, man. I get, I get these things, and they may be small parts, but I get to do scenes, with the man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, so there's a scene where he's just coming into the village, and he's screaming and stuff like that, and we're screaming at him, and I have this baton, and I swing it to hit him, in the back, and and then he's saying his lines and stuff like that, but the baton, it bent a little bit, so it kind of, kind of, it wasn't like I twisted it, because you have to stay firm so you don't hit him. But when you went like that, it kind of extended him and hit him, and then he looked at me, and I was like, "Uh oh!" But he didn't. But it was cool. And then the coordinator came over, and he was like, "You okay?" He's like, "Oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's a good one," and stuff like that. But then after that, he kept asking the stunt guys like to hit him, like with their props, because it pumped him up. He was like, yeah, come on, guy, pop. He would get into it, and then he would go do his scene, and I was like, woo, I'm glad that turned out well, because you could be going, aisle or window.
Yeah.
You do, you do something that's, shouldn't be done, or have an accident or something, with the main star. It's definitely not good. But yeah, he was very gracious, very cool, and in that scene. And then I did another scene because I played a couple of different characters or different scenes. In another scene, I was a fisherman, and they come in. It was me and another guy. They come in, and they slice our throats and stuff like that, and then that was pretty cool. And then in another scene, I played this Filipino, a pirate or whatever they called them, and then we're shooting. Pa, 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 it was a shooting scene and stuff like that, and that was super cool. That part got cut out of the movie, but I have clips and stuff, and it was really great. Like sometimes you can't, you just can't get for your reel or whatever, you just can't, get. But I was lucky because the person that was running the stunts, helping running the stunts for the scene, the
Yeah.
advisor, he took the video, which is not often, because I don't ask, but it was like, hey, you want me to get that? I was like, like I just happened to have my phone handy, and he got it, and so yeah, it was really cool. Being on set was really cool. Watching them work, watching the process, and the movie, did well. It's a good movie, and again, Gerard Butler movies are usually good anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
he's one of my favorite actors. Where'd you guys film that?
in Puerto Rico.
Oh, so hot
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. We shot it in Puerto Rico,
Real
and
sweat.
and I tell you, man, like I and my friends in the Philippines, I show them the video, and they're like, it looks like Puerto Rico. Like if you're in Puerto Rico, like if you close your eyes, the only difference would be the people and language. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it, you know. But let me tell you, I just realized there's a lot of Filipinos in Puerto Rico, a lot of Asians in general in Puerto Rico, and because I'm set, they had a lot of background and extras and stuff like that, and I turned, I looked to the side, and I saw an Asian guy. I think it was a Chinese, and he was speaking Spanish like bro, like this guy was born there. His parents was from there. Like he's like, I'm Puerto Rican, you know. And I'm like, and you definitely are, because you speak better Spanish than me. You know, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I thought it was so cool, you know, that other people go to Puerto Rico, you know, they're raised there, you know, their kids are raised there. They take the culture and they become, you know, they are part of, you know, my culture, you know, my heritage, you know, and
Yeah.
they're no different except that, you know, they may be, you know, Asian or Chinese, Korean, Filipino, or whatever, but they're born and raised and, you know, their parents and, you know, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's very cool. Yeah, it's very cool, very cool. So yeah, it was great. It was great. They film a lot of movies in Puerto Rico. A lot of movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it
LA
sounds like
Bean
you've
and
been there
Stunts
numerous times.
is the those are that's the go-to team in Puerto Rico for stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, I haven't seen The Naked Gun yet. I mean, it just came out in theaters, but that's had to be pretty cool, right? This big movie just comes out, and you had a part. Was Geo? Did he work on that too?
Geo, yes, Geo did work on that. I Arnold Chung was in town for that, and he called me up one day. He says, "Hey, are you available these dates?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm available." And then he submitted on my information to the stunt coordinator, and then you know, next thing you know, I got a I got a call, and you know, I went in. I think I worked maybe 3 days. It was like 3 days. You know, we shot a scene and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, it was great. And again, you're part of you know, something that's you know, funny, you know, with Liam Neeson. You know, I mean, he's great. You know, his movies are good. You know, you know,
Yeah.
I'll find you. You know?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
will. I'll definitely watch it. I'm sure it'll come on some streaming service. They always do, whatever it's
Right, right.
Hulu or who knows what it'll end up on. But yeah, I'll definitely watch it when it comes out.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it too. You know, I heard that it's good, and
Yeah.
but you know, I mean, you know, it's gonna be funny.
Right.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I look forward to seeing what they from the scene that we did. You know, what actually gets to go. You know, on the screen, what gets cut or not, and stuff like that. You know, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was fun being on set.
Yeah.
It was a cool, non-stressful. You know, come in, guys. You know, have fun. You know, do your job. You know, do what you know what you trained to do, and yeah, it was great, man. It was great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, is there a stunt like, you can remember being like, man, that was like the most dangerous stunt you ever did? Like, is there anything that comes to mind that's like, whew, like that was
Mm.
a crazy day at the office? Or,
Wow, a crazy, dangerous stunt. Hmm. No, man, I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of anything that I've done that's been like, like super crazy. You know, no car hits or super high falls or anything like that. No fire burns. You know, but hey, sometimes like the most simplest thing can go wrong, you know. So you know, thank God, you know, that yeah, I've been lucky, nothing's gone wrong. No one on any set that I've been on, you know, has ever been, you know, injured or badly injured, anything like that. So yeah, no, you know, there
even with
was a
the,
in the beginning there was a scene that I did early on where a guy's supposed to hit me with a pipe in the head. But he's not supposed to make contact. But he actually hit me with the prop. The prop breaks, wraps around my head, and hits me in the eye. Now, when he hits me in the eye, I screamed like it hit me in the eye, like ah, and I grabbed my eye, but I fell to the ground and still, until they said cut, that's I still kept on with kind of like the role, because I don't want to mess up the scene. And then they didn't know that I got hit in the eye. They thought I was acting. They thought I was acting. So the director was like, "Oh, that was great. That was great." When I come back out, my eye is like blood red and then stuff. And I was like, he was like, "Oh, oh, you got hit." I was like, ah, yeah. And then I had to get, medical attention for that. But, that wasn't something that was super dangerous. Again, it was something simple. But when you're, the other person, maybe was super excited or something. I don't know. Kind of overdid it, and then I got hit in the eye. But other than that, I've had pleasant experiences.
That's good. That's good. Right. And like you mentioned, everyone's got their, specific thing that they do. Some people do the fire stuff and
Right.
the car stuff. And I'm sure some of those people have had some experiences, with the danger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, hey, I've been lucky, but you
Yeah.
know, I mean, hey, that's what we get paid to take those risks and stuff like that. And it's an adrenaline, man. Like I think sometimes like the more dangerous it is, the more pumped up you get to do it. Like I can do it, like yeah, like I'm ready for this, of course. If you're not ready, you better say so. If you haven't done it and you're not ready and you're not prepared, you better say so, because it's not just that you get hurt. This is like millions of dollars that are involved, thousands of dollars for a day of shoot, and you don't want to say that do a stunt that you've never done. Tell the coordinator, yeah, I can do it just to be in it. It's better to be, safe than sorry, you know.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's true with most things. Some people, whatever they're doing in life, they're afraid that if they say, "Hey, I'm not ready," that they're going to be looked at different, or they're going to be pat. But if you dive into a situation that you're not ready for, and things go south, that's probably going to be worse than if you just, "Hey, I'm not ready. Like, don't put me in that situation." Like, you don't want to set
Sure.
yourself up for failure, whatever you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Plus, you want to be trusted. You want people to
Right.
trust you, and then later on down the line, they'll remember you and say, "Hey, I trust that guy." He was honest to say that he couldn't do it. They'll bring you back for something else. Something that you
Right.
can, something that you're good at. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
obviously, you've been dealing with the eye thing, that's been keeping you, sidelined for a little while. But do you have any projects that you're upcoming or things that you're working on?
I'm working on a series. It's an independent thing. City of Honor. It's called City of Honor. We're shooting in New Jersey. We shot the pilot episode, and it's streaming on Foursome. It's FORESOME. I believe that's yeah. FAWESOME. Foursome TV. Um, slash movie, .com. It's a City of Honor. It's 6 episodes. The first one is streaming. We're currently filming the second episode in New Jersey. We're having a a premiere in Puerto Rico on November 21st, and then we're doing a Fight for Films seminar slash casting call, because we plan to possibly shoot an episode in Puerto Rico as well, as part of the storyline of the series. And yeah, so that's pretty cool, because again, this one I'm not doing any stunts. It's I played Detective Ray Rivera, Ray, and it's I'm part of a task force, police task force, and yeah, so that's really cool. I'm excited about that. Trying to do more and more and more acting. Um, You
Yeah,
know,
getting to
let me
branch
tell you,
out.
acting is not easy. You know, people that acting is not easy. You have to learn, about the character, study the character, how you want to portray the character. It's not just memorizing lines. I mean, at first, I guess that's one thing. You have to memorize your lines. You have to be able to, deliver your lines, know when to come in. Being let in, know your the person that you're doing the scene with, their lines, so you can time it. That's one thing. But developing that character, developing how you're going to portray this, it's nerve-wracking sometimes.
Right.
When I was
Yeah.
doing Johnny Z was another film that I did, that it's on Amazon Prime. And the director coached me, and we would talk about the scenes and stuff like that. And then he would tell me, I want you, to give me the character, and then I can direct, like what I want. But I want what you can bring, to it, and stuff like that. So that was really helpful. They were very good in helping me to I guess excel in that role. So yeah, I'm really grateful to Jonathan Straighton, for taking me under his wing. He was very, very gracious in doing that.
Yeah, yeah, acting is definitely a tough gig, right? If it was easy, it would, everyone would do it, and the industry wouldn't be so hard to succeed in, and but it's not. It's hard, to get a career kick started. It's hard to get in there, and it's very competitive. It's not something for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have the greats. I mean,
Right.
there's like, I mean, there's actors that, I mean, just when you see them on the screen, it's like, wow, they take on a role, and it's like it's a masterpiece, you know. So I mean, hey, I may never get to that level, but it's the journey there to be the best that I can be at any level, to be able to work with other actors, and movies that inspire you. Listen, action movies, fight movies are all cool, but 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 at the end of the day, I like to be more involved in the storytelling, because I know I can fight. I know I can, throw a kick, knife stuff, hit the ground, do that kind of stuff. But if I can be, part of more of the storytelling part of that, acting, that bringing that character to life, I think that's kind of cool. It's something different. It's challenging. It's challenging. So I think that's what draws me to it. The fact that it's like, oh, that's so hard. I gotta do it. I at least try to do the best that I can. And
Yeah.
that's what City of Honor is giving me the opportunity to do. To kind of like bring this character for Ray Rivera
Yeah.
to life.
That's great. Challenges are good. There's so many people, they want everything to be easy. But if you're not challenged in life, you'll never you'll never excel, you'll never get better, you'll never make improvements. You have to be challenged, and it's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some people, they always want the easy way out. Wow, what's the easiest way I can do this? And but challenges can be definitely a good thing.
I think from a martial arts background, or even a sports background, or any type of competitive background, for martial arts is, for me, being a white belt, being challenged to go through the ranks in the system and stuff like that. Those challenges prepare you, for different things in life. The mindset, um, trying doing something that's like very difficult, and then excelling and being really good at it. So martial arts definitely has been a key part in my growth in a lot of things that I do, because I look back into it like, hey, man, if I could accomplish that, I can do that. You know what I mean? Or if I see someone else, see, that's the thing. If I see someone else accomplish something that's really hard and great, I say, man, if he could do it, I can do it. What's the difference between, that person and me? Like, yeah, it's inspiring. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to see other people excel because if he can do it, I can do it too. I'm just as good as that person, you know what I mean? Or at least try to be, or die trying. Yeah, not really that. Not really, but yeah, yeah. So I think it's great.
No, yeah, it is great. And then that's a good way to look at things too. Like, I mean, if other people, right, like that, it's good to have that mindset sometimes. Like he can do it, then I can, or at least I can give it a fighting shot and give it my
Right.
best. And I mean, the
Right.
honest truth is life is hard. There's gonna be challenges, and you have to be able to overcome those. And overcoming challenges will help you later in the future. When you overcome one challenge, it's going to help you be prepared for the next challenge. And, the lessons we learn in sports or martial arts or whatever, those are the lessons that can teach us to fight through the tough times and persevere, hard work, and it sounds corny to talk about some of this stuff, but it's important.
No, it's to me, it's not corny. I think it's just you gotta. It's a mindset. I
Yeah.
mean, it's you gotta put your mind to it, and it's gonna be tough, and and if you fail, you just gotta get up, dust yourself off, and and try again. I mean, what other choice you have? If you don't try again, then it's over, right? Then that's it. It's the bottom line. You failed, then it's over. So, but if you fail and you keep going, it's really not a failure. It's a learning experience, and then you take that learning experience into the next. Like for example, I'll go out and I say I'm gonna do 10 miles today. And I didn't make it. I didn't do 10 miles. I did 8. If I hadn't said 10, I might have done 4. But because
Right.
I set my goal as 10, I did 8. Was it really a failure?
Right.
So it just depends how you look at it. And I kind of keep my train of thought that way. I kind of try to focus that way. Hey, it's only a failure if you give up.
Right, yeah. If you
Yeah.
think of the great inventors of the world, people who have, created the things that we use every day, so many of them failed, right? Their first prototypes, their first tries at getting it failed over and over and over, but they kept trying to tweak it
Yeah.
and fix it. And, if you look at the greats, all these people, athletes, actors, the people that have risen to the top, there's so many times in their life where they could have quit and said, whatever, but they wouldn't be where they're at today. Life's going to throw you curveballs, and maybe you get hit by a pitch once in a while. But you're going to quit the game, or are you going to keep batting? Or just because you strike out once doesn't mean you quit baseball forever, right? It's the same thing in
Sure.
life. You get knocked down, get back up, and it applies to whatever you're doing: school, jobs, family, friends. It's just across the board. It applies to everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. All the greats, have failed at some point, and maybe that's the failure that got them to be great. You know what I mean? So
Right. Failure can light a fire.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even sometimes like naysayers, right? People who don't believe in you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They can light a fire.
Right.
Just like, oh, okay, oh, you said I couldn't do that. All
Right.
right, okay.
Right. Now
That
look
was
at me
just
now,
maybe the
huh?
motivation that I needed. To actually, maybe without that, I would have never actually, push forward to do it more. But just because you said I couldn't, then I'm gonna keep going and show you that I can.
Right.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that. So yeah,
Yeah, if it's something you're passionate about, don't listen to other people. Who cares?
absolutely, absolutely. Just
Yeah.
believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams, and and just keep going, man. Like sometimes, like just when you're about to quit, that just might be the time that you're gonna do the breakthrough.
Right.
And you never know. So yeah, stay positive, stay strong, stay focused, manifest. Just tell yourself every day, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Even if you didn't do it today, wake up the next day, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, you can do anything. You can do anything. And listen, not today, not tomorrow, but eventually, you just got to keep at it. You got to believe in yourself and keep at
Right. Yeah. No, that's great advice. And I think
it.
that's a good place to wrap up the episode. I really
Oh,
appreciate you coming on and
oh, thank
sharing,
you.
some of your experiences and your stories and whatnot. It's been great chatting.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great to be on your show here, and thank you for not giving up on me. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.